So listen to this. One of those careers where every chapter feels like someone tried to bury a player alive only for him to claw his way back up and come out twice as strong. And honestly, I don't think there is a single footballer in recent memory who's been treated as unfairly, as inconsistently, or as disrespectfully by his own club as Rafinha. Before we dive, if you haven't subscribed to Prime Focus yet, go ahead and smash that button right now. If not, don't worry. I'll keep dropping videos so good you'll end up subscribing by accident like your thumb just slipped and made a life-changing decision, and I'm not talking only about the Ballon d'Or fiasco, though that alone is wild. I mean, years before that, back in 2024, when everything around him seemed to collapse at once. He was injured for almost a month, fought his way back, only to be benched for a 17-year-old, got injured again for another month, lost his position again, was pushed across the pitch into a role that didn't even belong to him just so Yamal would have more space. And yet somehow, against every single odd, Rafinha still became Barcelona's most decisive attacker in the Champions League knockout stages, delivering goals and assists at a rate 24% higher than even Robert Lewandowski, and getting inches away from averaging nearly a goal contribution every 90 minutes. But instead of rewarding him, instead of building on the momentum and loyalty he showed by rejecting a massive Saudi offer, Barcelona and a portion of their fans immediately turned their backs on him the second Nico Williams had a good Euros, treating Rafinha like the unwanted spare part of the squad, the ugly duckling of the Camp Nou, a disposable player whose numbers they were perfectly happy to hand to someone else, even though he was about to produce 61 goal contributions over the next year. But this story goes far deeper than contract talks or tactical decisions. This is a pattern because historically, Barcelona has always had a complicated relationship with Brazilian talent. Ronaldo himself said Brazilian players were treated badly there. Romario left after a season and a half because the environment drained him. Ronaldinho was pushed out as a bad influence. Neymar walked away because he felt he'd never be valued the same as La Masia products. And that obsession, the obsession with their academy, plays a massive role in how Rafinha was seen. Because while Yamal grew up literally being bathed by Messi as a baby, Rafinha grew up in the favelas of Restinga, almost 800 miles from Rio, where the only paths out were Grêmio or International, and he got rejected by both. He even got kicked out of his local club because he kept skipping school to play. And when he finally found a team that accepted him, the ground was so far that he couldn't afford the bus ride. So he had to quit, falling into the chaotic world of the Várzea, the home of the rejects, the wildest version of football you can imagine. Foreigners hear street football and think Sunday League, but Rafinha explained it like the Wild West. No nets, dusty pitches, half the players shirtless, the ball brought by whoever showed up first. Goals shaking in the wind, fans smashing the locker room door screaming, "If you win, we'll kill you." Gunshots going off mid-attack, and Rafinha says if you can play there, you can play in a Champions League final with 90,000 people watching because nothing compares to the Várzea. Meanwhile, while Yamal was making Champions League history at 16, Rafinha at that same age had only just joined a tiny academy in São Paulo called Aldaz after an agent promised him a spot. And even there, the coach hated him. His ankle once swelled to the size of his knee, but the coach told him to go home, that he didn't belong there, that he was taking opportunities from the local boys, and eventually Rafinha walked out and genuinely considered quitting football completely to become a barber's apprentice. But something inside him refused to die, and he joined one last youth team, Imbituba, playing in the second division of the Under-20 State Championship, which finally put him close enough to home to survive the commute. And from there, he got a jump to Hawaii, a bigger club, where again he struggled, again was told to train alone because the team didn't need him, again nearly fell through the cracks. But as always, he clawed his way back until at 19, during Brazil's most prestigious youth tournament, he caught the eye of none other than Deco, and that moment flipped his life upside down. Before he even made his professional debut, he was moving to Portugal for 600,000 euros to join Vitória de Guimarães, starting in their B team, then exploding in his first pro season by producing nearly a goal contribution per 90 during the first half of the year. slowing briefly, then assisting in the cup final to push the club inches away from a historic trophy. The next season, he delivered 20 goal contributions in the league, trailing only the strikers of Portugal's Big Three. And in 2022, he was named in Guimarães' all-time Steunen. But before he could even celebrate, Sporting, the very club about to buy him, fell into chaos when ultras invaded training, assaulted players, and caused the president to resign, causing half the squad to walk out. And if you haven't subscribed to Prime Focus yet, go ahead and smash that button right now. If not, don't worry, I'll keep dropping videos so good you'll end up subscribing by accident, like your thumb just slipped and made a life-changing decision. Rafinha arrived in the middle of madness, then suffered one of the worst injuries of his life, missed half the season, returned just in time to win 2 domestic cups, carry Sporting through a 14-match unbeaten streak, and then, because his life can never be simple, Rennes came in with a €21 million offer 2 hours before the transfer window closed, an offer Sporting couldn't refuse because they were drowning financially. But even in France, as the club's record signing, Rafinha still didn't get the respect he deserved, though he delivered anyway, scored a derby brace with a 97th minute winner, helped Rennes qualify for the Champions League for the first time ever. And still, when Leeds United came calling, Rennes practically gave him away for €18 million because their new board believed the previous board had overpaid. Fans were furious, but Bielsa was ecstatic. Rafinha was the exact player he had dreamed of signing, even though he still had to earn his spot. 1 month later, in his first start, he dominated Arsenal, took man of the match, and Bielsa admitted there was nothing he could teach him. But just as Rafinha was carrying Leeds, with them winning 3 straight Premier League games for the first time in 18 years, Fernandinho crashed into him, cracking his ribs so badly he suffered internal bleeding. Rafinha, still thinking like a Varzea kid, told Bielsa he'd be fine in 2 days, only to end up in the hospital requiring emergency surgery and being rushed back 4 different times. When he didn't play, Leeds collapsed. When he returned, he dragged them to survival. And his form caught the attention of Brazil so late that he almost switched to Italy. Brazil barely knew his name. Fans thought he was just some random player who never made it at home, but he finally got the call, stayed on the bench for 3 matches, returned 2 months later, assisted twice, and won a penalty on debut. Then scored twice in the next match before taking an overnight flight to play for Leeds the next day because they couldn't survive without him. By New Year's, he was responsible for half their points. And on the final match day, with Leeds facing relegation, Rafinha stepped up, scored, saved the club, jumped into the stands, cried with the fans, and then crawled around the entire pitch on his knees to fulfill a promise he made to God if they survived. That moment sealed his transfer to Barcelona, but even his presentation revealed how little planning the club had put into signing him. He had no shirt number because the club was too broke to register him. They mortgaged future TV revenue just to finalize the transfer, and you were left wondering, did Barcelona even want him, or did they buy him just because he was available? Rafinha was signed as a replacement for Dembele, but Dembele improved right before he arrived, meaning Rafinha was immediately pushed aside. Fans criticized him from his first touch. Xavi had to publicly defend him, and even after Rafinha returned from the World Cup break, delivering 10 goal contributions in 12 games, including carrying Barcelona through Lyon. But then, in the final twist of disrespect, Inter knocked Barcelona out, and suddenly Rafinha dropped in the Ballon d'Or rankings at lightning speed, ending 5th while Yamal jumped to 2nd. And when people searched for answers, they found conspiracies, politics, and pressure from Yamal's own father, exposed by Romain Molina, pushing the club and federation to prioritize the teenager's image over Rafinha's historic run. And through all of this, Rafinha, who had every reason to explode, complain, lash out, did nothing but congratulate his teammate, worked even harder, and proved again and again that he is one of the most mentally unbreakable players the sport has ever seen. His entire career is rejection, disrespect, and obstacles, but he turns every one of them into fuel. So if you're watching this documentary right now, take 1 second to subscribe to Prime Focus. Trust me, If you don't subscribe now, you'll eventually subscribe by accident, because these documentaries hit harder than VAR controversies. And drop a comment saying, Rafinha deserves more, so we can push this story to more people who have no idea what this man survived to get here.